Well, hello everyone, Spencer here, also known as Lego Dude 11, and in today's video, this is another Star Wars series review out on the channel, and this is going to be my Andor full spoiler review. So without further ado, let's discuss. Okay. So, first and foremost, a little bit of housekeeping for you. Got my list of notes here that I did take down on the full season of this show. This is going to be discussing all 12 episodes of the series, or the first season, because the second season will be dropping in about a couple years, not next year, but about a couple years. And there's 12 episodes of this season. There's going to be 12 episodes of both seasons. And also, there's nothing else I want to mention. There's no cards or anything to click, so... But before going in, I do want to mention, I actually have my general thoughts. So let's kick off today's notes with this topic. So, the score of this series, specifically done by Nicholas Brittle, or Brittle, I don't know the correct pronunciation, but I'm going to call it Brittle, just to make it easy. And I really found this score interesting in a couple of ways, because if you guys don't know, I'm actually wearing my Star Wars shirt for this review, but if you guys don't know, back when I made my Obi-Wan review, I'm not going to go into the my critiques about Obi-Wan or Boba Fett, but as many fans liked Obi-Wan, there were some entertaining things about Obi-Wan and Boba Fett, but overall, the story level, it was just kind of mediocre, it was not good. But one of my critiques about Obi-Wan was the score. How Natalie Holt composed that show, I was really looking forward to it. John Williams actually came back and composed the main theme for that show. And then when we got into Andor, I was like, okay, really interested in the score. And it kind of reminded me of almost a bit of Mandalorian, but new. Like, it reminded me what Andor was with the music. It felt like John Williams in a new light. But it didn't feel just like a recreation. It felt like Star Wars done well. I don't know how to describe the score. To me, it just felt like incorporated the world so well, so nicely. Like there are moments where I'm not thinking about the music, and then different elements, it just works. And I know it sounds very vague, but it just, Obi-Wan, it didn't have that level of Star Wars goodness that I really, really like. But in this show, it just pulls it all together on all the levels I like. And there's something more I want to elaborate to with this review about the series specifically, and Star Wars as a franchise overall. But the music just really worked for me on different levels than what Obi-Wan did, and especially Boba Fett. Well, I mean, the Boba Fett one was Ludwig Göransson, who did Mandalorian, but again, this one nailed it. Good job, Nicholas Brittle. Good job. All right, moving along. What were my general thoughts going into this series, and then throughout the show? As many people have stated, really, they're making an Andor show. Like, what's that? Like, it's like, well, it's a side. Well, we're going to tell a story about a side character that was in a movie that was a prologue to the first movie, where all the main characters was a suicide mission and they all die. Okay, so why do you want to tell that story? Well, we think it's a really compelling character that you guys would want to see. Okay, and some people just right out of the gate don't care. To me, I really enjoyed Rogue One, but and this director, Tony Gilroy, who made the show, did The Bourne Identity or The Bourne Legacy, one of the two. I think it might have been The Bourne Identity. I can't remember. And I think it was one of the two, because one was better than the other. I think it was like a series or a movie. There was a Bourne Identity and Bourne Legacy. One of them was a series. And going into this show, people had a lot of faith in the dude, but I hadn't really seen any of his other works, so I didn't know what to expect. And then going in, I really enjoyed the first, the 3 episodes launched at once. And the next thing I have is actually 3 episode arcs, and how they structured this season, and they're also structuring the next season as well with 3 episode arcs. And in season 2, they're doing like 3 episodes is like a time jump, like every year or every 4 years or something like that. And I find that really interesting, more specifically for the next season, because I'm interested to see like how, kind of like House of the Dragon, how they did their time jumps. But this season they didn't do that. They just kind of did some 3-episode arcs. But it wasn't all throughout it wasn't throughout all 12 episodes where I thought it was going to be 3 arcs per. So I thought there were going to be like 4 arcs each time. But there were only like the first 3 episodes had that, and then there was another 3-episode arc in the middle chunk, or in the second half, and then like in the episodes 6 through 9 was another one, and then 10, 11, 12 was like 11 and 12 were like ending the whole season as a whole. So the first 3 episodes launched, and it was really good to have that launch into the gate, if that makes any sense, like launch into our journey with Andor and our story, because I shouldn't say I was annoyed. I would have been annoyed if the first episode ended, like if that's what all we got. I don't think that'd be bad. I mean, some people have been like, "Oh, really? That was it? Now we have to wait a week until we get the next part." I don't know if viewership would have, like, we would have gotten more viewership or not based upon only getting 1 episode, but the fact that we got the first 3 and it all tied into that one arc all together, I think that was better for them, Star Wars, Disney, to launch that right then and there. And then we got, whatever it was, episode 4 the next week, and then just, 1 continuous episode every week was really nice. And then the first arc dealt with, him on Ferrix, him exploring. It was like the deep, the whole thing here. One of my notes is the deep Empire story, and this arc, this dealing with Andor, and how him, it starts with him trying to find his sister, and then him with his mom, his relationship with his mother, and she's just like, don't go looking for your sister. Like that story pretty much all wrapped up in that first arc. And then when you see whatever, he's looking for his sister, he kills the dudes in that bar, or coming out of that bar, whatever it is, tavern, little cantina thing. You see within this this first 3-episode arc is like how he grew up, where he came from in this tribe, which is really interesting as a character standpoint. And then you see his growth as a character, and this okay. I'm mixing all my notes here, but I'm fascinated by this character arc, by the way, which I haven't even mentioned the other characters yet, which we'll get to in a second, because this is just this show, man, is like one of my favorite Star Wars shows now. It's one of my favorites. But we see that all in the first episode, in the first 3 episodes, and then we move on to the next chunk, and it's them going to Aldhani. I almost said the suicide mission. It's more or less a suicide mission. It's almost like they didn't recreate Rogue One, but they kind of were like when Stellan Skarsgård comes in, and he tells the woman, or he tells Andor to go on this mission with his crew. And basically, they're kind of going on a suicide mission to, I can't remember what it was, infiltrate the base and get, insight on the Empire and whatever they're doing. And the whole Aldhani mission was so compelling, was very interesting. I'm not, my words were not coming out right, but I really found it interesting what was going on a deeper level, the whole mission, especially like how it dealt with the first 3 episodes, like his relationship with his mother, right? And then how the Empire was out looking for him, his backstory, and that all kind of closed in one thing. And then we move on with Luthen, with this how Luthen is mischievous. I love this character because he's very mischievous, and he wants Andor to be part of this team and go deep undercover. And it's all very nice. And then, this whole mission plays out. He's on Luthen, but when I say he, I mean Luthen is part of this what was it, like a trading post? I'm not quite sure. I think it was like a trading post place in Coruscant, and then Mon Mothma, who she was in Rogue One, and then she was also in the early movies, I want to say, because she was part of the Organa Senate, so I believe she was in the prequel movies, if I'm not mistaken, and then she, when she converses with him, it's the tension just rises completely, and it's so great. And then that unfolds like after, like throughout the Aldani mission, and he's just he doesn't even know what's going on behind the scenes. So once the Aldani mission is successful or is completed, he's like, oh my god, it worked. So it's fascinating. And like I just was talking about, Luthen and Mon Mothma, and then the characters, I want to say this right now, the characters are fantastic, but I was not expecting the characters from the Aldani, well, there were a couple actually, but the two guys, I guess, that help Andor, that kind of are like, betray him almost, but then kind of like are on his same side, kind of are sidelined in the rest of the show. But then we get like I said, Mon Mothma. We get the Vel character, and then the Indian chick, who are working together, who want to help Andor, or not. They don't want to do what Luthen does, and then they try to get Andor, like, spread Andor's name out, because Andor is just on it, like, gonna get caught. Well, and then we have a sorry, hang on. So brief jump here. I was already in the middle of something, but I want to mention how how the characters all just are they have great arcs. I did mention that. They're well-rounded characters, and they all have like a motivation. They all have something. They don't have something to root for, but you either are engrossed in what they're doing, and it's very fascinating. Like the Andor's relationship with everyone, the Empire, the deep Empire story about how everybody works together, and the one woman, the head, not Vel, but the blonde Empire woman, who, when that guy is talking with his mother, and he's eating the blue milk cereal, and he goes to see his mother, and she just slaps him across the face, and then he gets fired from his job in the first 3-episode arc, and you know, he continues to see how what the Empire is doing throughout the series, and then by the end of it, he just meets that woman. He goes to the Empire and tells the woman, this is not what you should be doing. Like, this is wrong, and tries to manipulate what they're doing into some different way. It's so interesting. It's so compelling. And then there's two other things I'm going to mention here. When Mon Mothma is talking with, like, she always has these parties, and you see her daughter with her friends, and she has these rituals unfolding, and she's like against her mother, and then you see Vel, which is the cousin of Mon Mothma, talking, and you're like, what's going on over here? And it's like, I don't know what's going on. Like, is she plotting something against me? Like, so she doesn't know if she's with her mother, like on her mother's side, or she's actually against the rebellion. It's fascinating. Like, because you know there might be more to this in season 2, like, where Mon Mothma's daughter might actually have a role to play. Because I really thought Mon Mothma's daughter was just a throwaway character, and it's like, no, she might actually have something to do. Like, if her friends are having these rituals, like, what is their actual plan? Are they trying to do something for the Senate? Like, trying to help out the Senate and the rebellion? Or are they against something? I don't know. And I have a couple theories as well when we get to the end of this, but I do want to mention that the whole my favorite episodes of this series, not the last two episodes I wrote down as well, but the last two, the 3-episode arc where Andor is just living his normal life in the desert, like he goes away from his mother, and then he's living his normal life, and then he gets captured by the Empire, or by the K2SO droid, or was it by the, yeah, it's by the K2SO droid, and then the sand troopers, like, desert troopers, like, what are you doing? Why are you on the run? Like, why are you looking behind? Like, what's going on? It's like, I'm just a tourist. I'm here going to buy some stuff over at that gift shop, or whatever he says, gift shop something. And he's like, yeah, I don't believe you. You're under arrest. So they take him for, what is it, 12 years or something, and he's like, what? And then he's in this like Empire chamber, Empire dungeon place, and over this 3-episode arc, Andy Serkis is in it, like a great cameo for Star Wars, because he's in Marvel, he's in Lord of the Rings, popular franchises. Now he's in Star Wars. He's also in Venom, or he directed Venom, another Marvel project, Sony project. But he better win an Oscar for this role. Oh my God, it's great. Just his character was probably one of my favorite characters, by the way, in this show, though. I mean, besides Andor, I mean, he does great stuff. This cast, because like I mentioned, the cast of Aldani, like there are certain like shifting roles throughout this show. Like you have like a main cast that's like shown in the poster of this thumbnail, in the thumbnail of this video. Like you have like the main cast. Also, Saw Gerrera. I haven't even gotten to one of the other moments of the show that was amazing, but you have like the main cast, and you have the first, I guess like the first 3 episodes kind of like shows you who the main cast is, and then when you get to Aldani, you have this other cast, actors, and then you get the in the Empire dungeon building room, whatever I'm calling it, cast, and then you have like the finale cast, or you're back to whoever was in the first 3 episodes. So that's kind of interesting. But the whole One Way Out thing, when they're building this, and then you'll get to the post-credit scene later, but you don't know what they're building until the end, and it's really fascinating to me. And what they're building, like how it all tied, like how they're like, let's go to escape, and like, no, we don't, we have to follow the orders. And Andor's like, there's a way. How many guards are there? And then the whole strategy of like, and when the guy dies, like he had more shifts going, and Andy Serkis is like, there's 12 guards. There's never more than 12, or 4. I think there's never more than 12. It was so great the way they did the whole escape, One Way Out thing. Oh, I loved it. I love that episode. And then like when Luthen has this great moment of dialogue. Monologue at the end of episode 6 or whatever it was. I think it was at the end of the One Way Out episode. Oh, so good. When he's talking to that Empire dude in the mustache. I don't remember the whole thing verbatim, but to me, I mean, Luthen needs to get an Oscar for his moments of dialogue. I don't know what award he would get. But then yeah, you see Luthen friends with Saw Gerrera, talking with Saw Gerrera at some points, because Saw Gerrera was in Rogue One. And then how, Krieger, how he's like, did you betray Krieger? And Saw Gerrera gives him this thing, or he might have, I forget who gave him, I think Luthen gave Saw Gerrera an item, and it almost looked like a handle to a lightsaber. Wasn't quite sure what it was. And I'm not sure if that's significant right now, because it didn't really play out, but I'm wondering if that'll come into play more in Season 2 or not. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see about that. And it was interesting how like the first 3 episodes kind of like tied into the last 2 episodes, because they all kind of came together on Ferrix, which is where Andor was from. Because like I said, there were like different 3-episode arcs, and then this one kind of tied it all together. Like the first 3 like kind of on Ferrix, and then the last 2 brought it back together. And then when Andor finds out that his mom is dead, oh, it's heartbreaking stuff. And by the way, I want to mention, there's not really too many Easter eggs in this show. All the stuff that like was like, oh my gosh, there's this and this was kind of in the trading post room, when there's certain items and relics and stuff, and just other etc. stuff. I like in the room. It's like, oh, this is from that. This is like a weapon from this or something. That's kind of the stuff I like, or that I've noticed. As opposed to just like, oh, there's a guy with a lightsaber. Oh, look, it's Darth Vader. Oh, look, and that's not what this show is. There's not many cameos either. It's just, it feels like an HBO show. As I'm gonna say that to you guys. If you're one that wants Star Wars, pew pew pew, there's some of that. One of my favorite parts of this show, by the way, something I don't want to forget saying, pointing. I'm pointing. I don't know why I'm pointing so intensely, but I am. Is when, I think it was the end of episode 10, or maybe it was the end of episode 11, is when Luthen is trying to get away from the Star Destroyer, like the Imperial thing with the dish on it, and then he pulls away in almost hyperdrive, I think it was, when he tries to boost his ship, and then you see the back of it blasting, and then there's like these missiles on it that shoot backwards at the sonar dish and just completely destroy it. Oh my god, that was a great visual. It was a great visual. I'm not going to say my favorite moment of the show. I mean, there were so many good moments in it. But with that said, with something that was great, let's talk about the finale and the future of this show. So, like I mentioned, how like the first three episodes, and then the last two episodes kind of paralleled each other in a way on Ferrex. The last episode, when it dealt with the funeral of Andor's mother and how everything came to wraps, it was really interesting and unique, because in a way, I wasn't really sure how this series was going to end. Not this series, how this season was going to end, because there's still more for next season. Obviously, there's another season, 12 episodes coming in a couple of years. I don't know what's going to happen in the next couple of years, but or before we get the next season. But I just I found this series this season, how it ended, really unique, really interesting, because I wasn't sure, I wasn't like, oh yeah, this has to happen, and this is going to happen. I wasn't theorizing anything. I was just like, okay, this series is going to end. And the way I thought about this was this description. They had this, the droid, by the way, I gotta say this before, side note, the droid in this series has to win an Emmy. Every time I said Oscar, I meant Emmy, by the way, but this droid has to win an Emmy. This is the best droid other than R2-D2 and C-3PO. This droid is so emotional. It was incredible. The lines of dialogue this droid had was incredible. But when you see the funeral and you see the droid use the hologram to show Mara Andor, what was it? Andor? Cassian Andor. When you see the hologram of Marva Andor's mom, and when she's done with her speech, with her little video on the hologram, and you see all the people just get so mad at the Empire because of what she says. All of that whole scene, all I could think of was the two sides coming together of Les Mis. Do you hear the people sing? I could just, that's what it seemed like. That's what it felt like. And if people watch this and are either like, this is stupid, this isn't what Star Wars is, or if people who have either seen musicals understand that reference, understand what I'm getting at here, it is perfect. It is perfection. Not perfection for Star Wars, but perfection of what they did in storytelling. It is amazing. Now, I'm a huge Mandalorian fan. But this is something really different and really unique for Star Wars, and I think that they nailed it on this. That's just my own mind. You don't have to agree. If people agree, awesome. I know that there are people out there that do simply agree with this, and I'm not obligated to say that because it's a Disney show. This is probably one of the most mature things I've seen on Disney Plus in ages. I can't even spit out another thing. I mean, Loki, kind of mature. WandaVision, kind of mature. But, like, at the same time, they had some elements in there that wasn't mature. But I don't know. But that's just me spitballing. But these themes were really intense as well. I could literally talk about this for hours. And before I just drone on and on, let's get to that end credit scene because and the way it ends, Andor says to Luthen, "Fine, just take me in." So he might be taken in for sentencing. I don't know, and I don't know what's gonna happen on that note. I don't know. And the way it ended is really intriguing. The whole thing is intriguing. I'm really interested to see these characters again and what they do with the Senate and that whole Mon Mothma deal. I want to see more of that because I think the way this ended with the whole funeral scene is the way, like, we'll see Andor go in, or we'll see Andor be sentenced or something, and then we'll see more of the whole Senate ordeal with maybe Luthen, Mon Mothma, and the daughter, and all that. So, yeah, also, that character that helped out that helped out Vel earlier, I heard theorizing that it could be Princess Leia, like if they do the certain time jumps ahead in Season 2, maybe it could be revealed that she's Princess Leia. Or is the daughter Princess Leia? No, because that doesn't make any sense as well, it's not Princess Leia, but maybe that other woman is Princess Leia, with, like, that had the weird hair, like the bun here. So maybe it's Princess Leia. I also heard theories that droid was R2-D2. I don't believe that one bit, but yeah. So the future of Season 2, I am more pumped for Season 2 than I was Season 1. I'll say that much. And like I said, coming out of Obi-Wan, when I came out of that review, I said, I don't know about the future of Star Wars. Like, it's all up in the air. But this is what I'm going to say right now. I mean, I'm a Disney show, if you guys don't know. I typically watch most Disney stuff. I am not seeing Strange World. I don't know about it. Even once it's on Disney Plus, it's one of those Disney things I can't get into because just jumbled reasons. But this Star Wars is something DC. I've had a jumble of problems with DC over the past couple of projects. Not the Suicide Squad, Peacemaker, Batman are great, but Star Wars has been kind of a jumble of stuff. But now with Andor, if the Acolyte comes out, if they Mandalorian Season 3, The Bad Batch, I know that they have some good things coming out. I think Boba Fett and Obi-Wan were the 2 bad days at their office at Lucasfilm. So I think that 2023 is going to be their step upwards in the Star Wars Lucasfilm front. So we're going to have to wait and see. Willow's coming out, Lucasfilm. Indiana Jones 5 is coming out. And those 2 projects I have faith in. So I hope Lucasfilm knows what they're doing. And DC, I think they know what they're doing as well. These franchises, man. And I'm all for Marvel, guys. So come on, Disney. Come on, Warner Brothers, you can do this. I have faith in you guys. But anyway, that's just my little thought on that. What did you guys think of the Andor Season 1 full review? What did you guys think of my review? What did you guys think of the show in general? As well, I have lots of content coming. What is this? This is still November. This is November 30th. This video is coming out. So what did you guys think of this? I have lots of content coming out next month. So, big stuff coming in December. Rick and Morty's coming, ending, the season's ending. Avatar 2, Way of Water, and much more. So don't forget, and then 2023 is starting. Cannot wait. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, Lego Dude 11 down below, and my Boba Fett Jedi Master account on Instagram. Link is down below as well. Don't forget to subscribe. Let's reach 10,000 subscribers by the end of this year. So before 2020, I think we'll reach that goal. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, all, man. As always, don't forget to keep calm, play Lego. Bye, everyone.